Sophia never imagined that when she fled her father's multi-million-dollar mansion, the person who would find her would be a poor janitor. And she certainly never thought she would fall in love with him. The rain hammered down on the empty street as David Chen walked home from his night shift at the office complex. His janitorial uniform was damp, his shoulders aching from 8 hours of mopping floors and emptying trash cans. At 32, he'd been working these late-night shifts for 3 years, ever since his wife died and left him to raise their 6-year-old daughter Maya alone. He was thinking about tomorrow's parent-teacher conference when he saw her. A young woman stood pressed against the brick wall of a closed convenience store, her arms wrapped tightly around herself. Her clothes were expensive, a designer dress that probably cost more than David made in a month, but she was soaking wet, shivering, and clearly terrified. "Miss," David called out, approaching slowly, "you shouldn't be out here alone. This isn't a safe neighborhood at this time of night." Sophia spun around, her dark hair plastered to her face, eyes wide with fear. For a moment she looked like she might run. "I don't need your help," she said, but her voice trembled. David stopped a few feet away, noting the way she kept glancing over her shoulder. "I'm not trying to bother you, but it's 2 a.m., it's pouring rain, and you look scared. What happened?" Sophia hesitated. She'd been running for hours, ever since she'd overheard her father's phone call about arranging her marriage to a business partner's son, a man she'd never met, chosen solely to merge 2 companies. She'd grabbed nothing but her purse and fled into the night. "Someone stole my phone and wallet," she lied. "I just need somewhere safe until morning." David studied her face. There was something about her story that didn't quite add up. Her clothes were too expensive, her manicure too perfect for someone who'd been robbed, but the fear in her eyes was real. "Look," he said gently, "I've got a small apartment 2 blocks from here. It's not much, but it's warm and dry. You can sleep on the couch tonight, and in the morning we can figure out how to get you help." Sophia looked at him. Really looked. His uniform had a name tag that read David, and despite his obvious exhaustion, his eyes were kind. She'd grown up surrounded by men who wanted something from her, her money, her father's connections, her hand in marriage for business deals. This stranger was offering help and asking for nothing in return. "Okay," she whispered. David's apartment was tiny but spotless. Maya's drawings covered the refrigerator, and children's books were stacked neatly on a small shelf. David quietly gathered a clean towel, a dry t-shirt, and a blanket. "Bathroom's through there," he said, pointing down a narrow hallway. "The water takes a minute to warm up. I'll make you some tea." When Sophia emerged from the bathroom wearing David's oversized shirt, she found a steaming mug waiting on the coffee table beside a folded blanket. A note lay next to it. "Help yourself to anything in the kitchen. Try to get some sleep. David." For the first time in her life, Sophia felt truly safe with a stranger. She woke the next morning to the sound of giggling. A little girl with David's dark hair and bright smile sat on the floor, building a tower with colorful blocks. "Hi," the girl said cheerfully when she noticed Sophia stirring. "I'm Maya. Daddy said you're our guest because you got caught in the rain." "That's right," Sophia said softly, sitting up. "I'm Sophie." "Sophie? That's a pretty name. Do you want to help me build a castle?" Before Sophia could answer, David appeared in the doorway. He'd changed out of his work uniform into jeans and a simple t-shirt and was holding a spatula. "Morning," he said with a shy smile. "Hope Maya didn't wake you too early. I'm making pancakes. Well, attempting to. Fair warning, they might not be edible." Sophia found herself laughing for the first time in days. "I'd love to help, but I should warn you, I've never actually cooked anything before." David raised an eyebrow. "Never?" "My family has staff for that," Sophia admitted. "Well," David said, grinning, "today seems like a good day to learn." The kitchen was chaos. Sophia managed to burn the first batch of pancakes, spill batter all over the counter, and somehow get flour in her hair. Maya giggled at every mistake, and David patiently cleaned up each mess without complaint. "I'm terrible at this," Sophia said, staring at her latest culinary disaster. "You're learning," David corrected. "There's a difference." When they finally sat down to eat, the pancakes were lopsided and slightly burnt, but Sophia had never tasted anything better. After breakfast, David had to leave for a few hours. He worked a second job on weekends landscaping for a local business. He hesitated at the door. You don't have to stay, he said, but if you need more time to figure things out. I'd like to stay, Sophia said quickly, if that's okay. Maya would love the company. I'll be back by evening. Left alone with Maya, Sophia discovered something she'd never experienced, the simple joy of playing with a child. They built elaborate block castles, colored pictures, and read storybooks together. Maya chattered constantly about her school, her friends, and how her daddy worked really hard to take care of her. Daddy says Mommy watches us from heaven, Maya confided as they worked on a puzzle. Do you think she likes you? Sophia's throat tightened. I hope so. I think she does. You make Daddy smile different. That evening, David returned exhausted and dirty from his landscaping work. Sophia had managed to make dinner, simple pasta with jar sauce, but edible. You cooked? He said, surprised. Maya helped, a lot. As they ate, David asked gently, do you want to talk about what really happened? You don't have to, but if you need help with something more than just a phone and wallet. Sophia set down her fork. She'd been dreading this moment, but looking at David's honest face, she found herself wanting to tell the truth. My father wants to marry me off to someone I've never met, she said quietly. A business arrangement. I couldn't go through with it, so I ran. David nodded slowly. That's why you were really out there last night. Yes, and now I have nowhere to go. You have here, Maya piped up. You can stay with us. David smiled at his daughter, then looked at Sophia. Maya's right. You're welcome to stay as long as you need. Over the next few days, Sophia began to understand what a real family looked like. David worked 2 jobs but never missed reading Maya a bedtime story. He helped with homework, braided hair, and somehow always found energy to play even when he was exhausted. Sophia started helping around the apartment. She was terrible at first. She'd never done laundry, didn't know how to properly clean a bathroom, and burned more meals than she successfully cooked. But David was patient, and Maya found her mistakes hilarious. Why don't you know how to do this stuff? Maya asked one day as Sophia struggled to fold fitted sheets. I grew up very differently, Sophia explained. People did everything for me. That sounds lonely, Maya said with surprising wisdom. It had been lonely, Sophia realized, desperately lonely. One evening, as they walked to the corner store for groceries, Maya skipped ahead while David and Sophia talked. Can I ask you something? David said. Your family. They must be worried about you. Sophia shook her head. My father's probably furious but not worried. He's more concerned about the business deal falling through. And your mother? She died when I was young. It's just been my father and me, and his idea of parenting was hiring the best nannies money could buy. David stopped walking. I'm sorry. I can't imagine growing up without a parent's love. I can't imagine growing up with it, Sophia said softly. But watching you with Maya, I'm starting to understand what I missed. Their eyes met, and something shifted between them. It was David who looked away first. Sophie, he said carefully, I need to be honest about something. I'm attracted to you, but you're young, you're beautiful, and when you figure out your situation, you're going to leave. I can't let myself fall for someone who's just passing through. Sophia's heart hammered in her chest. What if I don't want to be just passing through? David smiled sadly. You say that now, but you've never lived like this. Working multiple jobs, counting every dollar, worrying about bills. This is my reality, and it's not easy. Maybe I want to learn a different kind of reality. That night, Sophia lay awake on the couch thinking about David's words. She'd grown up with every material comfort, but she'd never felt the contentment she saw in Maya's face when David tucked her in. She'd never felt the satisfaction David clearly got from providing for his daughter through his own hard work. The next morning brought unexpected visitors. Sophia was helping Maya get ready for school when a knock came at the door. David opened it to find 2 men in expensive suits. We're looking for Sophia Martinez, one of them said, showing a badge. We're private investigators hired by her family. Sophia appeared in the doorway, her face pale. How did you find me? Your father has resources, Miss Martinez. He's very worried about you. David looked between Sophia and the men, pieces clicking into place. Martinez, he repeated slowly. As in Martinez Industries. Sophia nodded miserably. Her father owned one of the largest tech companies in the country. Sir, one of the investigators said to David, were you aware of Miss Martinez's identity when you took her in? No, David said firmly, and it wouldn't have mattered if I had. Her father would like to speak with her. We have a car waiting. I'm not going, Sophia said, stepping closer to David. Miss Martinez, with respect, you're 24 years old, living in a one-bedroom apartment with a stranger and his child. Your father is concerned for your safety. She's safe here, David said, his voice hard. Sir, no offense, but you're a janitor. You can't provide for her the way her family can. The words hung in the air like a slap. David's jaw tightened, but he didn't respond. I'll go, Sophia said quietly, but I'm coming back. David shook his head. No, you're not. David, look at me, Sophie, really look. I'm a single father working 2 jobs just to keep the lights on. You're worth millions. This was never going to work. Tears filled Sophia's eyes. Money doesn't matter to me. It matters to the world, David said sadly, and eventually it'll matter to you too. The car ride to her father's estate felt like a funeral procession. Sophia stared out the window, thinking about Maya's laughter, David's gentle hands braiding his daughter's hair, the simple joy of successfully making pancakes after multiple attempts. Her father, Roberto Martinez, was waiting in his study, a room larger than David's entire apartment. He was a distinguished man in his 50s, impeccably dressed and radiating the authority that came with running a billion-dollar company. Sophia, he said coolly, I trust you've gotten this rebellion out of your system. It wasn't a rebellion, Dad. It was a choice. A choice to live in squalor with a maintenance worker. A choice to live with people who care about me for who I am, not what I'm worth. Roberto walked to the window overlooking his manicured gardens. The Henderson merger is still salvageable. Marcus is willing to overlook your episode. The wedding can proceed as planned. I'm not marrying Marcus Henderson. You're my daughter. This company, this legacy, it's your responsibility. I never asked for this legacy, Sophia said, her voice rising. I want to choose my own life. And what life is that? Poverty? Struggle? You think love is enough when you can't pay rent? David pays his rent. He provides for his daughter. He's more of a man than Marcus Henderson will ever be. Roberto turned sharply. David, you're on a first-name basis with the help now. He's not the help, Dad. He's a good man who works hard and loves his family, something you might understand if you'd ever tried to be a real father instead of just a CEO. The words hung between them like a challenge. Roberto's face hardened. You have a choice, he said finally. Come home, marry Marcus, and take your place in this family, or walk away from everything, your trust fund, your inheritance, this house, everything. Sophia looked around the study with its leather-bound books and priceless art. None of it had ever made her happy. I choose David, she said. Roberto's mask slipped for just a moment, showing something that might have been pain. He can't give you anything, Sophia. He gives me everything that matters. 3 days later, David was loading dirty laundry into his truck when Maya came running from the apartment building. Daddy, Sophie's back! David looked up to see Sophia walking toward them, carrying a single duffel bag. She looked different. Her expensive clothes were gone, replaced by jeans and a simple sweater, but her eyes were bright with determination. Hi, she said softly. Sophie! Maya launched herself into Sophia's arms. I missed you. Are you staying forever now? Sophia looked at David over Maya's head. That depends on your dad. David set down the laundry bag. Sophie, we talked about this. You can't just give up your whole life. I'm not giving up my life, she interrupted. I'm choosing it. For the first time ever, I'm choosing my own life. Your father cut me off completely. No trust fund, no inheritance. I'm officially poor. She smiled. Turns out I'm okay with that. David stared at her. You gave up millions of dollars. I gave up a prison, she corrected. David, I've had everything money can buy, and I was miserable. These past 2 weeks with you and Maya, I've been happier than I've ever been in my life. But you don't understand what you're signing up for. I work nights, we live paycheck to paycheck, there's no safety net. Sophia stepped closer. I want to learn, I want to work, I want to build something real with you if you'll let me. Maya tugged on David's shirt. Daddy, please let Sophie stay. She makes the best pancakes now, and she reads funny voices for the store. David looked down at his daughter's hopeful face, then back at Sophia. You really want this? This life? I want you, Sophia said simply. I want Maya. I want a family that's built on love, not contracts and mergers. David was quiet for a long moment. Then he smiled, the first real smile Sophia had seen from him since she'd been taken away. "Well," he said, "if you're staying, you better learn how to do laundry properly. Maya's been complaining that her socks don't match anymore." Sophia laughed, tears streaming down her face. "Oh, I love you too." 6 months later, David and Sophia stood hand in hand watching Maya play on the swing set at the local park. Sophia's hair was shorter now, practical for her job at the community center where she taught literacy classes. Her hands showed the calluses of honest work, and she'd never been more beautiful. "Any regrets?" David asked, squeezing her hand. Sophia looked at Maya, who was calling for them to watch her go higher, then at David, whose love had taught her what wealth really meant. "Only one," she said. David's face fell. "What?" Sophia grinned. "I regret that it took me 24 years to find you." David pulled her close, and as Maya's laughter filled the air around them, Sophia knew she'd finally found what no amount of money could buy. Home. They weren't rich in the way the world measured wealth, but they were rich in all the ways that mattered. And sometimes, that's the most valuable treasure of all.